All right, welcome to episode 105 of Sports Hype. A lot to get through today. First and foremost, we're going to touch on Justin Jefferson, CeeDee Lamb, and Brandon Ayuk, three of the top wide receivers in the NFL not attending OTAs amid contract talks with their respective teams and what that means for those teams as well as the players. We're going to talk about Bengals wide receiver T. Higgins not signing his franchise tag tender, which therefore means he's unable to participate in any Bengals offseason activities until he does, and he's unlikely to do that by next week's deadline. So we're going to talk about what that means and for him and for the Bengals. We're going to give running back David Johnson and wide receiver Devontae Parker their flowers as they both retired this week. Then moving on to the NBA, we'll touch on the Cavs firing JB Bickerstaff. I know Gio has a big opinion on that, so we'll see what happens, what he thinks about that firing and what happens with their coaching search. And then we'll talk about the inside the NBA is being dismantled for NBC after next basketball season. We'll give our thoughts on that. I know I have a very, very big opinion on that. We'll see Gio's opinion on that as well. And then we'll wrap it up. We'll talk about what's next for the Cavaliers, the Thunder, the Knicks, and the Nuggets after their respective playoff exits. So let's get right into it, starting with Justin Jefferson, CeeDee Lamb, and Brandon Ayuk not at OTAs. So what's your thoughts on that and what it means, Gio?
Yeah. I mean, realistically, we've seen some big players not go to OTAs, obviously, and still have a great season with their respective teams. Other players, like, say, an Aaron Rodgers, for instance, with the Green Bay Packers, wouldn't show up. Next thing you know, he's out of there. So does this really mean that, especially with Brandon Ayuk, having his contract, extension or his contract talks, being halted, or maybe, he wants to get traded. Same with Justin Jefferson. Does he want to leave? So realistically, do these guys actually want to play for the teams that they're, signed with right now? I'm not sure. Or is it just because do they think it's unnecessary for them to go to OTAs? Personally, I think every opportunity to play with a team, right, builds chemistry, builds team camaraderie, right? Develops that culture you want, because every year you're going to have new guys in the system. So it's good to develop a new culture every single year, develop that winning culture, if you must, to try and win a championship, try and win a Super Bowl, because that's every team's goal. And these OTAs really, to me, help that by really just understanding everybody, building a good relationship with everyone, and making sure everyone's on the same page. And for these star players not to go to them shows, one, they don't think it's a big deal, and two, do they really want to win a Super Bowl like some of these other guys do that show up to OTAs?
Yeah, I agree. I mean, we're seeing Nick Bosa hasn't shown up in the past, but after the Super Bowl loss last year and him saying that he didn't play as well as he would have hoped,
right,
he's now at this year's OTA, showing that he's dedicated to play to the best of his ability this year. I think I could see it from both sides for both, the receivers and the team, because obviously these receivers want to get paid. As I said, they're three of the top receivers in the NFL, specifically Justin Jefferson and CeeDee Lamb. At least Justin Jefferson's probably at least top three, if not number two or number one. And then CeeDee Lamb's at least top 10. So those guys want to get paid to their respect. I get that, but sitting out OTAs, I don't think that's the way to go, because like you said, you're showing less dedication to winning and to the team, and that might come back to bite you when it matters.
100%. And the only reason why I mentioned those two guys is because they do believe they want to leave their respective teams. CeeDee Lamb is in a good position because he is the number one guy on the Cowboys. He has a great quarterback in Dak Prescott throwing in the ball. So realistically, I think this is the best scenario for him to stay on that team for a long time. The other two guys, I'm sure they want to get shipped out as soon as possible, but I don't think they can really say that to the degree I just did. But with CeeDee, I mean, yeah, you guys want to win a Super Bowl every single year, right?
Right.
That's the standard for you guys. For him not to show up to OTAs and be a leader on that offense like Dak is, I mean, that just, to me, proves that something's off with that culture down there in Dallas right now. And then, like you said, always, it starts with the ownership, it starts with Jerry Jones. for him not to, pretty much demand his play. I know you can't really force a player to go to OTA, but to demand his players to be like, okay, guys, we want to win a Super Bowl this year. Let's show it. How about everyone go to OTAs? Like, just throwing some incentives, because he's got all the money in the world. Throwing some incentives for everyone to show up. And then, obviously, that will go a long way, like you said, heading into the season to win a Super Bowl.
Right. Yeah. And it just sets a good example for the young players coming in too. Like these young players seeing CD not showing up and Brandon Ayuk and Justin Jefferson,
Yeah.
they're like, oh, so when it's my payday, I can do the same thing. Like
Right.
it's not how it works.
Right. Because you're looking at Zay Flowers, you're looking at George Pickens, right? Those two guys, in my opinion, are the two next guys heading into that stardom. And if they look at these three guys, like you said, if they look at these three guys and say, hey, we don't need to show up, then they're not going to do the same thing, and it's going to start a trend, right? And just like with, I think, Odell forcing his way out, it shows that the players have all the power, right now in the league. Just like with the NBA, and really all sports, the players have all the power to where upper management is having trouble controlling what they do, right? So,
right. And I think that's not a good sign because like it's been happening for years where these star players are like, oh, I want my money. I'm not showing up until you give me my money, give me my respect. You got to come and show that you're ready to work to get paid. It's a two-way street, buddy. That's what I'd say.
100%. And you saw that with Dak Prescott early on. You saw that with Patrick Mahomes early on. You saw that with all the greats. All the greats had to show up. They weren't given their opportunity like some of these receivers that come out, in the first round and say, yo, I'm the next guy right away. Like, look at Marvin Harrison, perfect example. Marvin Harrison Jr., right, could be a top dog in the league this year, performing-wise, right? But Dak Prescott wasn't given that chance. Either was Patrick Mahomes. They had to work their way up. And now, look, they're given the leniency because of how great they are. Patrick Mahomes, obviously, three-time champion right now?
Yeah.
And then, obviously, Dak Prescott has the highest numbers in the league every single year, pretty much. So they're given, the leniency that they deserve.
Right. It's just you have to work for the leniency that you want. And it's like you can't just be like, no, I'm not going to show up because I want to get paid. Well, you got to like obviously, yeah, your play on the field does have a lot to go into you getting paid, but like you also have to show that you're willing and ready to work every single day because that's what a professional athlete is. It's the definition of a professional athlete. You have to work. There's no off season. Let's be honest. There's like maybe 2-3 months you can take a little rest, but you're still working on your body in that rest period.
Right.
And then from
100%.
July to September, it's work. You got to show up.
Well, 100%. I mean, if you want to get paid, no matter what field you are in, if you're an athlete or anything, right, you have to show up to work. And when you show up to work, then you're rewarded with the payday, right? With your hard work comes the payday. And if you don't show the hard work, yeah, you can have a great season here and there like CD had. But if you don't have a continuous line and be consistent with showing up, then you're not going to get paid.
Right. And I think obviously Justin Jefferson deserves his money, but I think you're right. He wants out. Let's just put it that way. He's mad that Kirk Cousins left. He's mad they let go. He doesn't want to be there. He doesn't care about McCarthy. He wants out. Brandon Ayuk, he might want out, but I think he also he's 50-50. But
I think he wants his money, but if he doesn't get his money, then he wants out.
Exactly. So if they're not going to give him the money, he's like, all right, then trade me. CD, I think 100% wants to stay in Dallas. But the inconsistency that he's shown when it matters, Dallas is a little lenient to give him the money that he wants. So it's not they're not at a fair ground yet, similar to where they are with Dak Prescott.
Yeah, for sure.
And like at some point, you're just gonna have to drop it, play out this year, and then get paid whenever you get paid. Because at some point, you have to show up to work. You can't just go into a season without going to OTAs, training camp, whatever it may be, without practicing and expect to put up the numbers that you expect to put up.
Right.
So I just think players not showing up to OTAs and training camp like they have in the past is bad example, and it's bad for the league. And I think the league might have to do something about it to prevent it.
Yeah.
But we'll see what happens with all three of those. I think at least two of them will be traded, specifically Justin Jefferson.
Right.
But moving on to another top receiver in the league and wide receiver T. Higgins. As I said, he didn't sign his franchise tag tender and is unlikely to by next week, which will mean he won't be able to participate in any activities for the Bengals until he does. So what does that mean for him and the Bengals, in your opinion?
One, this means that pretty much nothing, because I think the Bengals have a lot to work on this season regardless. I do believe that although they've kept a lot of their key pieces, they've also lost a lot of their key pieces, right?
Yeah.
And that being said, I mean, Joe Burrow has his work cut out for him this season, especially coming off of that injury in his thumb, I do believe it was.
I mean, also, like, they also lost Tyler Boyd. So if they lose T. Higgins,
Right.
because if they're not going to pay him, then all you got is Jamar Chase. That doesn't leave Burrow with much. Like, Jamar's great,
No,
but he can't do it by himself.
But are they trying to get Justin Jefferson in there? Is that the whole plan, to get him and Jamar and Joe back together? If that's the plan, then I understand why they're doing it the way they're doing it. But it is going to be a rough stretch, like you said, if they get rid of Boyd or Higgins.
You mean?
Higgins, yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, it means a lot because even not, like I said, offseason, you have to put in the work. He's not going to be able to put in the work in the facilities, at least.
Right.
He'll have to do it on his own, which isn't the
Mhm.
same. Like, in the facilities is a lot better than on your own, in my opinion.
Mhm.
And it translates to the field better. So I think it's big for both him and the Bengals. I think the Bengals have to pay T, because unless, like you said, unless their plan is to trade for Justin Jefferson, they have to keep T after letting Tyler Boyd go, because if they don't, it'd be a similar situation with Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase as it was with Dak Prescott and CeeDee Lamb this past year, where CD started getting doubled. Same thing will happen to Jamar Chase. All the attention will go to him. The others won't step up, and the offense will struggle.
Mm-hmm.
So I think this is big, and the Bengals have to take care of T. Higgins if they don't have a bigger plan in mind.
They do, but at the same time, I think losing Mixon was just as important, in my opinion. But especially with the fact that you have the Ravens adding on Derrick Henry, the Browns adding on their weapons, and Jerry Jeudy, and having a healthy Deshaun Watson, right? Then you have the Steelers adding on a gauntlet of weapons. Like, my goodness, I don't even think Amar Khan could have done a better job, because he added on a gauntlet of weapons on the offensive and defensive side. I'm not sure who's going to compete with them in the AFC North as a complete all-around team. So keeping as many weapons as you could, if you're the Bengals, is the best option in order to have success. And when you're having these things happen to you, right, with Higgins, with Mixon, right, when you only have Jamar Chase, when you only have Joe Burrow, who knows if he's actually healthy or not, right?
Right.
So it's just going to be tough.
Yeah, it really is. And we haven't even touched on, like, their best defensive players, Sam Hubbard and Trey Hendrickson, not happy there either, wanting money and wanting out if they don't get that money. So,
that's
like, if you're going to lose those two as well, you're looking at, there's no way you're going to be top 3 in that division. You're going to be dead last. Like, you're going to be where Joe Burrow was coming into his rookie year. He will be last in that division if you guys don't find a way to keep these players and keep them happy.
100%.
So we'll see what happens with the Bengals. But as of right now, it's been a bad offseason for them, because they lost, as you said, Joe Mixon. They lost a lot of defensive players. Like, they haven't done anything to maintain that roster. And they had a disappointing year last year, obviously, with Joe Burrow getting hurt.
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens there. But lastly for the NFL, as I said in the intro, running back David Johnson and wide receiver Devontae Parker did both retire. So I just wanted to say great career to both of those guys, and happy retirement to both.
Yeah, 100%. It's, smart move, obviously. I still think they had a little left in their tanks, but for them to move on to retirement and step away from the game like they have, they can really, save the rest of their life. Because honestly, if the more you play in the NFL, let's be honest, the more likely you're gonna have a shorter life. Okay, that's just the likelihood. So for those guys to step away from the game like they did, they can enjoy their families, enjoy their retirement, enjoy the rest of their lives the way they want to, and still be, still have the brain capacity to think and to enjoy their lives and to actually live it is amazing. So congratulations to them. Give them their flowers. They had a wonderful career, both of them.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, I think it's the right move for both because David Johnson hasn't been on a roster in a little bit. And even if he
Yeah.
did get on the roster, he'd be like probably third stringer with how old he is.
Right.
So it's probably best for him to retire right now. He had a great career at Arizona specifically. And then
Mhm.
Devontae Parker just hasn't been able to stay healthy for years.
Right.
And like you
That's
said, if he continued down that line, he was just going to deteriorate his body more and more. So it's best.
Right.
I mean, he did sign with the Eagles and said that he'd play with them for 1 year, but looking back on it, he was like, probably not the best decision. I'll just retire, spend time with my kids, which I think was the better decision, especially with his injury history these past few years. But he did also have a great career, specifically with the Dolphins, where he really thrived.
Yep.
But congrats on a great career to both those guys, and hope you guys enjoy retirement.
Sure.
And moving on to the NBA, I know Gio's a little upset about this one. The Cavaliers, after their second round exit, did decide to fire JB Bickerstaff. So before I give my insight on why they did it, let me hear your thoughts on this decision as a Cavs fan.
Yeah. Where do I begin? I mean, yes, I understand why they did it, right? With the fact that him and Donovan Mitchell weren't happy. Okay. They weren't getting along. I'm not sure if it was the offensive side. I'm not sure if it was the accountability. Like Donovan Mitchell said, I believe it was that some of the younger guys on the Cleveland Cavaliers just are not focused, are not ready for the playoff basketball yet, the playoff mindset, if you will. Does that go back to JB Bickerstaff? I think so, because he is the head of the snake, right? He is what everyone calls a leader and who's in charge of everybody, right? And how they play and how they actually prepare for the games. But at the same time, I thought he was a good coach. One, he brought a LeBron-less Cleveland Cavaliers to the play-in, where no one thought
twice,
and no one thought they were going to do it. Right? Go ahead and what were they? The 4 seed, I want to say, 5 seed this year.
I want to say the 4. They were the 4.
4, right? Yeah, we were the 4 seed this year. Beautiful in the Eastern Conference. We've even jumped up to the 2 seed at some point this season.
I think you also were the 4 seed last year as well, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, and we lost to the Knicks. Anyways, we had great regular season success. Moving into the playoffs, we had a first round win in 31 years, I believe it was this year.
For the first time since 1997. I think the first time since 1997 without LeBron James.
That's right. It's just a remarkable thing to do. And to fire your coach after that is just like firing Dwayne Casey after he won Coach of the Year, in my opinion, with the Toronto Raptors. He was a good fit. The only reason why I believe the Cleveland Cavaliers, my team, fired him is so we can keep Donovan Mitchell. If this is the case and we keep Donovan Mitchell, fine. I love Donovan Mitchell. I think he's a great player. I think he's a great fit for Cleveland. We don't keep him. This is the worst move I think you guys could possibly make. Because who do you have? You have Atkinson. He's not going to be our coach. Okay, I don't want him to be my coach. Great assistant coach, not a great head coach. No. I don't want JJ Redick to be my coach. I know you do out in LA, but I don't think he's gonna. I don't want him to be my coach. I do think he could be a good fit for us because of the offensive style we have. I think he would love to coach that kind of style offense. But looking at it, we just don't have the coaches on the market right now that can coach this young team into success in the next 3 or 4 years, is because that's what we have right now with Darius Garland, Evan Mobley, maybe Jared Allen, right? We have Strus, but realistically, we need to go ahead and win in the next 3 or 4 years.
Yeah, 100%. I think this was a terrible move by the Cavaliers because of what you just said. There is no head coaches out there. I don't want JJ Redick either, but I'm going to have to be stuck with him most likely. We'll see. But to get back to the Cavs, I think this is a terrible move. I mean, there's no experienced coaches out there. Yeah, Kenny Atkinson, right. But like you said, he's mediocre. There's no like championship level head
I mean,
coaches out there.
I know there's someone on the Celtics, I believe we're looking at, the assistant coach on the
Oh,
Celtics.
Sam Cassell.
Cassell, yeah, he's good, but again,
That's an assistant
first-time
coach, though. That's the problem.
Right. All these assistant coaches, no head coaches out there.
And I mean, like Frank Vogel, maybe, but like I don't think that'd be a great fit.
No, because we are an offensive, heavy team. Yeah, we are good defensively, but we are an offensively powered team with Darius Garland, Evan Mobley, and Donovan Mitchell.
Yeah, I get why the Cavs did it because obviously, like you said, they did it. The rumors going around at least are they did it because they believe it improves their chances of keeping Donovan Mitchell. All right, if that keeps you Donovan Mitchell, great move. If it doesn't though, and you fired that man for no reason and lost Donovan Mitchell, that's the worst offseason without a doubt. Like that's the worst two moves that you could have made. And then Jarrett Allen, his status is up in the air. Evan Mobley's going to get paid. Jarrett Allen wants to get paid. They can't pay both. One of them's going to shipped out. Like you have no head coaches out there available that would be better than JB Bickerstaff. No LeBron James. You have Donovan Mitchell. You have Darius Garland. You have Jarrett Allen. You have Evan Mobley, and all those guys were hurt at one point this year. Still the 4 seed. Still won a first round matchup. And last year, still the 4 seed with the same issues, injuries. And you go ahead and fire him like that. It just doesn't sit well with me. I think he was the scapegoat. Marcus Morris, who was on the Cavs, did say that he lost a locker room, so that went into it as well. Because if you lose the locker room, I mean, obviously you're not going to regain the locker room. You have to keep the locker room in order to be a good coach. But with all the success he had, I still would have kept him personally, because even with losing the locker room, because there's, like you said, there's no better coach out there right now that can do as good of a job, if not better, than JB.
Yeah, for sure.
So I think this is a terrible move. It's going to come back to bite the Cavs. But we'll see what happens. If they keep, as I said, if they keep that Donovan Mitchell, then so be it. Great move. But if they don't, this is just going to come back to bite them.
Yeah.
But even if you keep D Mitchell, Darius Garland's on his way out. If that happens, he's come out and said it. So like, either way, you're losing at least half of your starting lineup, and you're going to put a first-year head coach in that situation. Not a good recipe.
Right.
So I think that's the wrong move. But we'll see what happens with the Cavs moving forward.
Yep.
But so I'm a little upset, inside the NBA, one of the greatest, if not the greatest shows in basketball history, they win Emmys for a reason, is going to be dismantled for the rights to NBC after next basketball season. So next basketball season will be their last season. So I want to hear your thoughts on that.
So it's this is it, right?
Not this year, next year.
Next year is going to be their last season?
Yeah, and then rumors are Charles is going to try to sign all 3 of them to his own production company to start their own show. But there will be no more TNT.
Yeah. One, it is for me, and not for me. It's just
for everyone. There. Let's be honest. For everyone.
For everyone, it is the best sports show you can watch ever. It is the best. It is the most entertaining. It's the most knowledgeable.
People are saying, like, I've seen people say that they don't know basketball. Do you watch the show? Because if you watch the show, compare it to ESPN. ESPN doesn't know basketball. They just go out and speak their mind. They actually know the game of basketball. They played basketball.
They know the game of basketball, yes. Shaquille O'Neal is hard on the centers of the league, but that is because he is the greatest center of all time, okay? He's the most dominant center of all time. Yeah, people are going to say, Kareem or Wilt, go right ahead. I'm going to put Shaquille O'Neal as my
most dominant by far.
Most dominant. To me, he's the best center of all time. When you look at that aspect of it, and he grades the big men out there like that, the way he does, and he says the things he does about the big men, and whether they're soft or look at his footwork, look at how he finishes inside the paint, look at him, go ahead and drive in the paint like he does. Okay, he analyzes it perfectly. When you look at Kenny the Jet Smith, right? When he goes to the board.
He's great, and he's a great analysis.
Perfectly. It's amazing to watch. Some of the things I see, the way they analyze the game and they show the replays of the first half or the second half, if it may be, right? It's just shows you how knowledgeable they are. It shows you even Charles Barkley, Sir Charles, if you will. He even analyzes the game perfectly, even though he makes a lot of jokes. He's funny.
Yeah. Like
He
that's what I
still
was gonna say.
analyzes it perfectly. Okay,
Right.
and then
That
Ernie is the glue, right? Keeps
Ernie's
everybody
a
on
joke.
track. Keeps everybody moving forward, right? It's just the perfect chemistry on that show. And you want to split up perfection? It just doesn't. It just doesn't sit well with me. It's just
Yeah,
terrible.
I agree. The only person I was gonna say that is a little skeptical is Chuck, but like Chuck still, like you said, analyzes the game perfectly, and yeah, he makes jokes, but that makes the show, that makes the ratings. There's a
Makes it
reason they do
entertaining.
that.
Everyone makes jokes. Even look at Shaquille O'Neal. I remember. I think there's a clip going around of them talking about the gas, right? And how if Kenny goes ahead and I think it was like if he fills his gas twice a week, right, or
Oh
something
yeah,
like
yeah,
that.
yeah, yeah.
But Shaq's like, no. You'll have a full tank of gas if you fill it a quarter every like other day or something like that, right?
Yeah,
You're gonna still have a
yeah,
quarter. You're gonna have 3/4 of the gas, and then Kenny's like, "No, I'm gonna have a quarter of gas." What are you talking about? Like, I mean, it's just pure comedy, but yet so entertaining, and it still focuses around the game of basketball, the culture of basketball. For them to split it up, for it being around for so long, and it's not even that they want to split it up, right? It is an
no, they
external
don't.
source trying to split it up right now, and it just doesn't sit well with me.
Yeah, I agree. I think this is a terrible move for the NBA. I think the NBA will see their ratings drop if they do this. Because I know me personally, I can't watch ESPN halftime. Like I said, they just speak their mind
I don't
and
watch
they
it
just
anymore.
they just scream at each other. I'm like, bro, you're just screaming at players who aren't even watching the halftime. Like you're not. There's like maybe one segment where Stephen A gives like an interesting take, and then it's a commercial break, and then they show a highlight and another commercial break, and halftime's over. That's not even a halftime. Let's be honest.
No, no.
Like,
Let me. You know what I hate about it? Yes, I'm not gonna go ahead and diss Stephen A. Smith or Malika Andrews or
they're great. They're great, but it's just the halftime itself is not a halftime. Let's be
not. It's
honest.
not just that. It is who is right. Okay, it's either Kirk
Right.
saying, "Hey, Stephen A. I was right about this. I was right about the New York Knicks. I was right about the Boston Celtics." And then Stephen A.'s like, "Yeah, New York, stand up. Yeah, we're here." Like, come on, man. Talk about the game. I don't care your opinion on whether you were right or not. Analyze the game like these guys are doing.
Right.
Tell us what's going on in the first half. Tell us what needs to go on in the second half. Stephen A does that sometimes. He'll go like, okay, maybe Jason Tatum has to step up in the second half. Maybe Jaylen Brown
Right.
has to step up, or the big man, maybe Hartenstein, maybe he has to step up in the second half. But usually it's a who is right game, right, in that halftime, and I hate that.
Yeah, I agree. And it's like the only two people I really like in that halftime show is one, Michael Wilbon. He actually analyzes the game perfectly. And then Bob Myers is pretty good. And then Stephen A. Smith. Those three are good. But the rest that they bring on the show, they're just like, oh, I'm right. The Knicks are gonna win, yada yada yada. Like, bro, at least tell me why you think the Knicks are gonna win. You're not even saying why.
I agree, but I also, yeah, Michael Wilbon, I will say he analyzes the game perfectly. But I don't think he gets enough talking time, and I think it goes back
Yeah,
to the
right.
right game most of the time. And then you look at Bob Myers, and I think he can look at it in the perspective of a general manager, right? But he can't actually analyze it as a player, right?
Right.
And that he says that a lot. Like, hey, I don't know this as a player. You know this. I think it was Vince Carter or Chris Paul who was on there. You know this as a player. You can, attest to this, but I can't. So I really like the player's perspective, and that's what you get with the TNT crew.
Right, exactly, and that's a problem with I have with ESPN as well because like they're not players. I'm like, yeah, you're right, but like you have no credibility to say it because you never played in the NBA, like you never even played high school basketball. So why should I believe you?
Right.
That's like I just think they're tearing apart something that's perfectly built, like you said, and it's gonna hurt their ratings. I don't know who's gonna be on NBC that hasn't come out and said they haven't come out and said that, but I think this was terribly wrong, a terribly wrong move by both Adam Silver and the NBA and the TNT crew. Because, as I said, that TNT show is built to
Well,
perfection and is a perfect show for basketball fans.
one, I'm not blaming the NBA. or Adam Silver, because I do believe it goes to the highest bidder. I think it's like with any other project, it has to go to the highest bidder, right?
Right.
But I would say, like, okay, being the commissioner of the NBA, understanding how important these four guys are to the culture and to the improvement and to increasing our audience for the NBA, you have to step in and be a commissioner and make a move and say, hey, I understand you were the highest bidder, but we have to keep these four guys employed. We have to make sure that this show continues. Whoever the crew is, make sure that the crew of, I'm not sure if it's just Turner Sports, but make sure the crew of that show stays together, because it is run perfectly, right? So you have to make sure not just those four guys. You have to make sure the men behind the cameras, the producers, everyone involved in that show has to stay the same, or else you're not going to have the perfection that it is.
Right, 100%. Like, if I was to edit Adam Silver's shoes, I'd be like, well, is NBC really going to bring me as much viewers as this crew does? I don't think so. So you guys can become a broadcasting team, but you guys aren't taking over TNT. TNT is staying, and you guys will just be on another channel at a different time.
Well, isn't it a sister affiliate? Like, don't we have TNT, CBS, and what was it, True TV for the March Madness?
Yeah, exactly. We do.
So why can't it be a sister affiliate just like that, but you bring over Turner Sports into the CBS? That doesn't make any sense to me.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, you guys are just going to get rid of them, like, not even going to try to merge them or anything. You're just going to get rid of them, be like, oh, sorry, short end of the leash. See ya. Like, come on.
But it's so weird to me, like, because like I said, they're a sister affiliate, right? CBS is a sister affiliate with, I think, TNT, because you see Kenny, Ernie, and Chuck, and Charles Barkley on CBS, right?
Well, it's not going to be CBS.
Madness.
It's not going to be CBS. It's going to be NBC.
Oh, it's NBC.
Yeah.
Okay, that makes it a lot worse now, because now you have no affiliation with Turner
That's what I'm
Sports,
saying.
right? I thought it was CBS. I'm sorry. I was like, why is
No, you're okay.
like it didn't make any sense to me. But yeah, NBC. I mean, I don't even understand why NBC.
Why does NBC need it? Why do
Back
they
in the
even
day,
need
NBC had the rights, but you
right?
have no business trying to do this.
Who on NBC is going to talk about basketball as well as even ESPN? Like, there's no one on NBC that I know that's going to be like a great basketball analyst.
Right.
So, like, why are they trying to get like football is your thing? I know you want more than football, but let's be honest. Football is perfect. Sunday night football.
Well, they used to have basketball back in the day, right?
Yeah,
They
exactly.
used to have that.
But like, football mainly is their main bread, especially Sunday night football. You make millions off of that. So like, why are you trying to get NBA too? Like, it just doesn't make sense.
Well, I think they're just trying to create an empire, but the whole thing is, it's like, okay, for me, it's like, look at college football. Look at the game day. You can't replicate what those guys replicate. Okay,
it's basically they're trying to replicate that, but it's not going to work without those four guys.
right, exactly. And you see other channels trying to replicate game day too, like Fox, I think it is, with the Big Ten.
The only one who's been semi-successful is Pat McAfee. That's it.
But Pat is his own entity, right? So
Right.
I mean, Pat is making ESPN. ESPN is not making Pat.
100%. Without Pat, like, in the offseason, he keeps ESPN relevant.
He keeps ESPN relevant no matter what. Not even in football. He keeps ESPN relevant in everything. Without Pat McAfee, I don't think anyone would be watching ESPN, in my opinion. When I think Pat McAfee could honestly break off into his own thing, right? And everyone else would move over to him, because imagine if you had one conglomerate with Charles Barkley's production, with him, with Dan Lebentard, right? With all these guys that people actually want to watch. It'd be over for the main networks. It would be over.
Yeah, 100%. I just don't understand like what the NBA and what TNT specifically is thinking with getting rid of this show. Like, you're gonna like I said, you're going to deteriorate your ratings, not only your ratings, but also the NBA ratings altogether.
Right. And I mean, why? I don't understand this, but like, so, you know, I do like what the NBA tried to do this year. They kind of made a merger between ESPN and Turner Sports, right? When you had the ESPN halftime show kind of go with the TNT's halftime show. I mean, when you did that, it was great for the sport, great for the NBA. Excuse me. But you had two different networks working together to give you entertainment, to give you analysis. It was great. But now what you're having is you're separating some different things. It's just not making any sense. It's not good for the culture. It's not good for the NBA. Regardless, we can't do anything about it. But regardless,
No.
this will be the last year. So really, just enjoy them when you can. Enjoy greatness. Enjoy this perfection. Enjoy this amazing show, because you're never going to see something like this again.
Yeah, 100%. Like, just enjoy it. Obviously, this playoffs, which I'm watching right now, for the rest of this playoffs, and then for all of next year, make sure you watch it as much as possible, because
Right.
unfortunately, it's going to be gone sooner than you think, unless hopefully Charles Barkley can pull off that deal he was talking about, where he'd get these four guys with his production company. If that happens, then I definitely tune into that more than ESPN for sure.
Yeah.
But hopefully they can figure something out. And but for right now, it's not looking good, unfortunately. But very, very sad day for those guys, and hopefully Charles can figure that out with his company. But last but not least, moving on to what is next for the Cavaliers, the Thunder, the Knicks, and the Nuggets after their respective playoff exits, starting with the Cavaliers. So,
Yeah.
Cavaliers fan, take it away.
We pretty much did that. You spoke about Jared Allen and Evan Mobley. We spoke
Right.
about obviously Donovan Mitchell and his landing spots.
And Darius Garland, if D Mitch stays.
Right. JB Bickerstaff's firing. I mean,
yeah, I mean, there's a lot going on in Cleveland. Like,
there's a lot going on in Cleveland. That is, and it's very unknown for what the future holds right now. So, I mean, Let's see what happens. We'll give our analysis on what happens, in the future. As of right now, let's just sit back and watch.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, a lot of skepticism going into the offseason for the Cavaliers, and hopefully they'll be able to retain at least one of Darius Garland, Donovan Mitchell, and one of Evan Mobley and Jared Allen, and then find a way to build around those two players that they decide to keep.
Right.
And then obviously find a good coach that can coach that team.
Yeah, sure.
But we'll go to the youngest team in the league, who is the number 1 seed. And the inexperience did come back to bite them against the very experienced team in the Dallas Mavericks, the Oklahoma City Thunder. What do you think is next for them?
Yeah, you said it perfectly. They're the youngest team. They're inexperienced, came back and bit them. I love their fan base. One, I do want to shout out their fan base for staying up when they landed.
Dude,
and
like,
congratulations. That was perfect.
Their home games all season, like, I didn't see a fan sit. There was white out every game. Like, they're an insanely great fan base.
Right. I do want to say the Cavs are the best fan, but I can't. I really have to say I think the Oklahoma City Thunder fan base is the most passionate fan base out there.
I also think, like, they had so many down years after Russ and KD left that, like, they finally have Shea in this team, and they're like, finally something to cheer about. Let's go.
Right. So, like you said, they're young. They're going to be right back to this, if not better, next year. They have so 100%. Many draft picks; it's ridiculous.
Bro. They're gonna. I think they're gonna trade a few of them for a veteran player, as they should.
They definitely could. But here's the thing for me: it's okay. Let's try to keep building this momentum, because look at what happened to the Sacramento Kings. We all thought they were the next big thing. Look where they ended up this year. Right now, we just got to keep building momentum. Don't look at what our success we had in the past. We just got to look at it into the future and say we have nothing until we get that championship.
Right. I mean, what's next for them, personally, in my opinion, is trading Josh Giddey. He was unplayable in that second round series. First round series, he played decent, but second round series, he was unplayable. And honestly, throughout the entire year, he was pretty much unplayable for most of the year. So I think he is the asset that they should trade for a veteran guy. But outside of that, like you said, they just need to build around this team, and they'll be right back to where they were this year, next year.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I just feel like Giddey is not a great piece for them moving forward.
I mean, yeah, he wasn't part of the rotation this year, really. I agree with you. He might need to be traded. I think he needs a new scenery, obviously, after what happened with him this year and the allegations and everything that happened in his life. One place I could see him going is possibly a Miami type team that needs a point guard. They could obviously trade him for bare minimum to nothing, right? Because of how he played this year. So I mean, we'll see where he goes. We'll see what the team does. But obviously, they have so much potential. They have so many draft picks. It's kind of crazy to think of how well they could actually be next year.
Dude, for real. I mean, the one thing I will say that they need, and that showed drastically in the Mavericks series, is another center next to Chet Holmgren, because Chet was getting eaten alive by those big guys. And I think if they get another guy like, say, Jonas Valanciunas, if he is on the trading block, that could drastically improve them next year.
For sure.
But like you said, build around the roster as much as you can, make some tweaks here and there, and you'll be right back to where you were this year next year.
Yep.
And speaking of a team who I think don't need to make many tweaks, the New York Knicks, I think just injuries came back to bite that team in the butt at the wrong time. What's your thoughts?
Yeah. Thoughts. Julius Randle needs to go. Everyone's saying how we have Julius, we're going to be better. I think that you would actually be worse. So Julius needs to go. In my opinion, you need another wing, maybe get another center, try to get someone that's healthy, maybe build up another Villanova guy in there. Can't hurt having another Villanova guy. So or Mikal Bridges. I mean, Mikal Bridges is a great player, but you have so many guards. You need a big wing. You need to get rid of Julius, in my opinion. And, I think they're going to be better next year, especially when they're healthy.
Yeah, I think, like I said, injuries came back to bite them at the wrong time. They could have put up a great fight against the Boston Celtics, who are the favorites to win the championship in the Eastern Conference Finals, if healthy. Unfortunately, though, they couldn't stay healthy because Tom Thibodeau had no choice. They didn't have a bench after trading Emmanuel Quickly and RJ Barrett, so Tom Thibodeau had no choice but to play a six-man rotation and play those guys like 48 minutes a game where they could barely sit. So I think that came back to bite them at the wrong time. I was of the mindset that they should trade Julius Randle until I saw that Indiana Pacers series where they had absolutely no size to stop Pascal Siakam. And I don't think trading Julius Randle would get them anybody size-wise that could stop, say, a Pascal Siakam.
Right. Pascal Siakam, I think he's going to stay with the Pacers, though, in my opinion.
No, I'm just saying, I don't think, I was of the mindset that they should trade Julius, but, after I saw that they couldn't stop Pascal, I just don't see, if they trade Julius Randle, they're getting less size, and I think that would hurt them ultimately.
I don't think so. I really don't. I think you trade Julius for, I don't know what you do, but why not try to get a Paul George in there? Why not add Donovan Mitchell in there? Obviously, he's not big in size, but you add him, you sign, you get cap space. Who knows? Maybe you get another big wing out west. I mean, Julius needs, in my opinion, because he's not a good fit with his team.
Yeah, I agree. That's why I was before, when I saw them playing this well without him in the playoffs, I was like, oh, they don't need Julius. Get him out of here. But because he's gonna want the bag, and they got to pay Brunson another bag very soon. They're gonna have to pay Josh Hart. They're gonna have to pay DiVincenzo. One of these guys is gonna have to go. And Julius Randle is the odd man out with his injury history. But do you really think Julius Randle is gonna get them a Donovan Mitchell or Paul George? To me, no, he's not that good.
I mean, it's really cap space, right? But I think that roster spot, yes. I think a Paul George, I don't think he needs to sign for the maximum. Paul George is leaving the Clippers, most likely.
Yeah, I agree. But if I'm the Clippers and they say Julius Randle and a few picks for Paul George, I'd be like, I can get a better deal somewhere else than Julius Randle.
I mean, you could, realistically, but look at what's happening. Usually, right now, except for Damian Lillard, players that have been forcing their way out to where they want to go. You look at New York as a landing spot for any big star now because of what Jalen Brunson has done to that team and to that culture. They made New York relevant again. Paul George would be a perfect fit in my opinion. Julius Randle's not. I mean, you look at Julius Randle, he takes too many bad shots,
Dude,
right?
Julius Randle, he dribbles out the shot clock. Like, that's why their offense thrived without him. Jalen Brunson actually moved the ball, got off screens, did flare screens, cut. Like, Julius Randle dribbles until there's like 5 seconds on the shot clock, then takes a fadeaway.
Well, not even that. It's just the flow, right? You could be in flow. Like, for 5 minutes, you can keep going, right? Even with Julius on the floor. But then for some reason, like you said, Julius will stop the flow. He'll take a bad shot. Momentum will shift. And that's why the New York Knicks lose, is because he will automatically shift the momentum of the game through 1 or 2 possessions of why would you take that shot.
Right. And I think, honestly, because like obviously they want the Villanova Knicks to stay together, I think the one guy they could trade off Julius Randle for, if he's unhappy in Brooklyn, is Mikal Bridges, to get another Villanova guy over there.
But he's a guard. You need to me, you need a wing.
I mean, he could play small forward, in my opinion.
But it's so small. You're looking at the Golden State Warriors right now. Yes, they played small and they won in 2022. But you look at what's happening right now, and you need this in the league, and you need the size.
Yeah, that's true. And that's why, like, I'm 50-50 on it if they should trade Julius, because, like you said, he messes up the offensive flow when he's in there. And he's not a great defender. If his offensive game is not flowing, his defense, he won't give you anything defensively. And that just hurts him even more. So
Right.
I do think he needs to go. It's just a matter of who can they get for him that will make their team better if they get rid of him.
Yeah, I'm not sure. But that's if I'm the owner, if I'm Nolan, I'm saying, hey, you know what? You know what we got to do? We got to trade Julius. I don't care what you do. Get something good, okay? Because he's off the team. But I don't know. I don't know what to trade him for. But I do know he needs to be off the team.
Yeah, I agree. I don't think he will help them. I don't think honestly, they might have lost that first round matchup without him, if we're going to be honest. Or with him, I'm saying.
Julius
With him.
Randle, they would have lost both rounds that they've won. Or the first round they won.
Yeah, I agree. Because like Jalen Brunson wouldn't have had the freedom to do what he did, and he would have just messed up the flow of the offense.
I mean, just the whole chemistry of it, right? You had Jalen Brunson working perfectly with Josh Hart, perfectly with DiVincenzo, perfectly with Achua, perfectly with OG Anunoby, perfectly with Harkenstein, and then it was honestly, it was perfection just to watch the selflessness. He is.
Right.
I don't want to say he's a selfish player, but he kind of is.
I mean, let's be honest. I'm going to be honest here. He's absolutely a selfish player, and we've been saying this for years.
It doesn't work.
No, it won't work because, as I said, he'll dribble out the shot. They'll give him the ball to bring it up. He won't even he won't even look at Brunson. Won't even look at Hart. Won't even look at Precious Achua. Brunson brings it up. He's making the passes. He's looking for the open guy and cutting.
Yeah.
Julius Randle will just dribble out the shot clock, as I said, and take either a 30-foot three or a fadeaway that doesn't go in, and it's just terrible offense.
Yeah.
But I do think he needs to go, and I also think OG Anunoby's going to test free agency. You need to retain him because if you don't, that defense is going to take a hit.
For sure.
But OG Anunoby also needs to stay healthy. That really killed them against that Pacers series.
Yeah, but then again, you really had no help. And it's going to take your toll on anyone.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, Tibbs had no choice but to play, but to play them 48 minutes a game at least, if not 46.
Right.
And that goes back to them deciding to trade it. I don't care that they traded RJ Barrett. That's fine. But deciding to trade Emmanuel quickly, that came back to bite them big time in the playoffs specifically. So definitely got to find a way to get more depth and find a way to get Julius Randle off the team and keep OG Anunoby on the team if you're the Knicks.
Yeah, for sure.
And then to wrap it up, the defending champion Nuggets did get kicked out of the playoffs. I'm smiling because I'm a Lakers fan. If Lakers fans are watching, you know what I mean. And the Timberwolves did kick them out were down by 20 in Game 7, came back and won that game, came storming back. I think held the Nuggets to 37 points in that Game 7. Was a masterpiece to watch. I don't think, obviously, the Denver Nuggets are great as is. They're defending champions for a reason. It's hard to go back to back, and they learn that the hard way. I don't think they need to do anything moving forward personally, outside of get more depth, obviously.
Yeah. Having like Jeff Green, having Bruce Brown, having
Yeah, like last year, their bench last year was a big reason why they won.
100%. Obviously Reggie got hurt.
Right. And I mean, I know Jamal said he was healthy, but I don't think he was healthy.
He's not healthy. Jokic was there. But let's be honest. I mean, they just got sucker punched, okay? They got sucker punched in the first 2 games. They weren't expecting Minnesota to come out the way they did with Anthony Edwards being who he is, right?
Well, also, like,
they got knocked off their guard.
I mean, yeah, but like then they came back. They were up 3-2, couldn't close that at home, and then couldn't close it out on the road, and then to go home, be up 20, lose a 20-point lead at home, and lose a Game 7 to end your season. That's just terrible.
But it also shows you the fight of Minnesota. Like, they will give you a knockout blow every single time they can. Okay. And that's what Minnesota is. They're a bunch of young guns who just want to knock you out, right? Those
specifically Anthony Edwards.
They're 2 heavy hitters, right? We're gonna go blow for blow, but at the end of the day, we're gonna knock you down and we're gonna keep you down. Okay, so for Minnesota, amazing series win, shows who Anthony Edwards is, shows who Karl Anthony Towns is, because Game 7 he played like a different animal. When you look at Rudy Gobert and how he played defensively, that whole team were like, okay, why is Rudy Gobert the defensive player of the year? Because this whole defense is defensive player of the year, the defensive team of the year, right? But then you also look at the Nuggets side, health, depth-wise, they weren't there. To me, I think they got out coached too, personally. Yeah. I think Malone was, I'm just not sure what was going on coaching-wise. You look at the Nuggets going into next year, like you said, keep it the same, just add depth.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, like I said, it's very hard to go back-to-back in today's NBA. This is the 6th straight year where the defending champion hasn't gotten by the second round of the playoffs. Let alone, don't even talk about the conference finals or the finals. The second round, they can't even get by the second round. That just shows you the transparency in the league right now and why it's so hard to go back-to-back.
100%. But can I say something real quick?
Yeah, go ahead.
I don't understand where this whole Lakers fan thing. I like, go ahead. You have your victory, real quick. But I am honestly confused of why you guys are so happy and why you guys were so happy rooting for the Minnesota Timberwolves.
So for me personally, I'm not going to speak for Lakers fans. For me personally, it's the talk that they did after beating us last year. I didn't mind them. I didn't mind them at all. Like, yeah, they swept us. They earned a win. That's fine. Yeah, I get it. But it's not that. It's like after the championship. Even after the championship, they were talking about us.
Sure were. So they sure, because they beat you.
Yeah, that's fine. But you don't have to talk about us after winning a championship and we're still in your mind. Why is that? You won the championship.
Because I'm going to be honest with you guys. If they beat the Celtics, if they beat you guys, right? You two franchises are the best in history. No doubt about it. There's not a single franchise better than you two. Okay.
But then who they beat in the finals? Didn't they beat the Warriors or the Celtics?
Denver?
Yeah.
Beat the Heat.
Oh, that's correct, right? Yeah, I forgot. Yeah, okay.
So for them to beat a 17th, championship team like you guys, for them to talk about it, that's fine. But for me, it's the fact that, okay, you guys still had a chance to come back, a chance to have your revenge in the first round, and you guys didn't even do that. You guys had a gentleman's sweep where your players didn't perform. And your
I mean, yeah.
fan base is still carrying on about. So who's really living rent free in whose mind?
I mean, yeah, let's be honest, they are in ours. I'm not gonna lie to you. But after last year, I'd argue we were in theirs because even after winning the championship, they still talked about beating us in the conference finals. And I was like, shouldn't you be celebrating a championship instead of celebrating beating us in the Western Conference Finals?
Yes, but then again, it also comes back to okay, just for an very unlikely hypothetical, 1-on-1, me against Michael Jordan. Let's just say, even Michael Jordan at 60, right? Okay. Let's just say, okay, we'll play to 3 points, right? Because Mike doesn't have the stamina anymore. 3 points. Say I get luck. We're playing 1s and 2s. 3 dribble. I hit a 3, a lucky 3 to go up 2-0. Mike blocked my next 3. He goes heads. He hits a 1 or a 2, right? So let's just say it's 2-1 right now. Mike misses a jump shot. How unlikely that is, I don't know. But let's just say he gets a 1 out of a 1,000 chance of missing a shot. I get the ball back, right? I'm a little bit younger. Who knows? Maybe I go ahead and get a layup or something, right? I win 3-1. You don't think I'm going to be talking about that for the rest of my life?
I mean, yeah, but like that's Michael Jordan. It's not the Lakers.
Think about this. Michael Jordan is the greatest player of all time.
Arguably, yes.
Okay, yes, I know you. I know. I forgot who I was talking to. But Michael Jordan is my opinion the greatest player of all time. You guys are arguably the greatest franchise of all time. That's why they're talking about it.
I guess, but for me personally, I just didn't like how they were talking about us after winning a finals. I'd be like, bro, just talk about winning the championship.
True.
Don't keep bringing us into it. That was my option. That was my opinion.
Very true, but I also believe it's like I don't get it. It's not like I would never root for the Celtics to beat. I don't for anyone to beat anybody in the East. If my Cavs lose, my Cavs lose. I'm not rooting for anybody in the East. I'm rooting for someone in the West. You know what I'm saying?
I mean,
I'm rooting for the
like,
exact opposite of who.
I mean, I like the Timberwolves personally. Like I
do
wasn't
too.
rooting for them. I wasn't rooting for them just to beat the Nuggets. I wanted them to win the series no matter who they were playing.
100%. But I hate how the Lakers fan base are like, ha ha ha, the T-Wolves beat you guys. It's like, but y'all still lost against the guys that just lost. You know what I'm saying?
I mean,
it just makes zero sense to me.
To me, I don't know. I'm not speaking for all Lakers fans, but to me, it's because we can't beat them. So whoever can beat them, we root for.
Yeah, but it's like what? Like I just then leave the Lakers. It's like just because your team can't beat them doesn't mean you have to go ahead and bandwagon to a team that can beat them just for an instant. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, yeah, but like it's not even that for me. It's just the fact that they were talking after winning the championship last year that really, really did it for me.
Yeah, I can understand that, but it's just like why root so hard, right? As if you were a fan of this team. Not you, but the fan base, the Lakers fan base, root so hard for the Minnesota Timberwolves as if you guys were actually Minnesota Timberwolves fans. It boggles my mind.
I mean, I'm never going to convince you because you're not a Lakers fan. You just will never understand because you're just not a Lakers fan, man. You won't understand the pain of losing, I think, 12 straight to one team. And
no, I understand the pain of losing to every team. Every team.
Yeah. Without LeBron, we'll go with there. But
yeah,
with LeBron, you won't understand that. With LeBron, you were dominating everybody.
Right.
So you understand the Nuggets standpoint, but you don't understand our standpoint of not being able to beat that team and how it bothers us so much.
I mean, I can kind of understand it because of the Warriors in the finals. But at the same time, it's not like I was rooting for the Spurs or obviously I would because I like the players on some of these teams. I would be like, okay, I hope Chris Paul and the Clippers beat the Warriors, right? but I wasn't like, okay, the Clippers. You know what I'm saying? Like, I wasn't actually like
Yeah.
rooting fans of the Clippers.
I mean, like I said, bro, you'll never understand it. You're just not a Lakers fan, so it's hard to explain it
Guess
to
not.
you, but you'll just never explain it. You'll never understand it.
Yeah, I'm not part of that circle.
But I also just didn't want another repeat champion, and I did not want a Nuggets Celtics finals. That would have been my worst nightmare as a Lakers fan.
I mean, either way, you're losing, right? Because the Nuggets win or the Celtics get number. Celtics are going to get 18. Are we?
No,
Are we
they're
sure?
losing. They're losing in the finals, in my opinion.
In my opinion, I don't think anyone's beating Kyrie Irving and the Dallas Mavericks. Kyrie Irving is undefeated in closeout games. Kyrie Irving is a champion. Luka Doncic is on another world, and let me just say the key piece is Lively. Okay,
I mean, yeah, but I
Lively is
think,
the game changer.
yeah, I agree. I still think Minnesota wins in 7 and then beats the Celtics.
What?
I do.
No.
I do.
Okay. In a closeout game, you are betting against Kyrie Irving, who's undefeated.
I am.
In a closeout game.
Because of what I saw the Minnesota Timberwolves do to the defending champions down 20 when they could have folded, and they said, nah, we're not going home. We're moving on. I think they have that mentality this year that they're like, all right, we need to get this done this year or bust.
What do you think Dallas did when they were down 20 and they came back in a closeout game?
Yeah, but like it's not against defending. It's against like I said, the youngest team in the league versus defending champions. Defending champions is more impressive in my opinion.
It is, in a way, but still. I mean, you can look at it either way, but Kyrie Irving is still Kyrie Irving. Luka Doncic is arguably the greatest player in the league right now.
I mean, I won't be surprised if Dallas wins. It's going to be a hell of a series. It's going to go to 7, in my opinion. And whoever wins game 7, if it's Dallas, I think the Celtics win number 18. If it's Minnesota, Minnesota can beat Boston Celtics in the finals, in my opinion.
How do you think Dallas has no chance of beating Boston?
I wouldn't say no chance. I just don't think that they wouldn't be. I just don't think they'd have as good of a chance as Minnesota personally.
Who's defending Luka Doncic?
Drew Holiday.
Who's defending Kyrie Irving? No one.
That's up for that's the problem.
Kyrie.
That's the problem. But I also think that if they have KP back, they'd be able to contain the Mavericks bigs.
PJ Washington. I mean, if he goes ahead and shoots the way he's been shooting, if you have if you have Hardaway Jr., right?
Hardaway hasn't done, let's be honest, hasn't done anything in the playoffs.
He has, but still. He made an impact, I think, what was it, game 2 or 3 when he had 24, 25 points for the first round?
Yeah. The Mavs have a chance. I'm not saying they don't. It's just I think the Celtics are the better team compared to the Mavericks.
I mean, we'll see about it. Personally, I don't think anyone's beating Dallas.
We'll see. That's a hot take. That's a very hot take. I would love to see that, though.
Because look at it. Luka Doncic is plus 440, I want to say, 410 in the Finals MVP race. Everyone's favoring Jason Tatum right now, which is ridiculous. Because even if they do win, it's going to be Jaylen Brown.
As the way he's playing right now, heck yeah.
That's right. So even if that's the case, I mean, I'm betting my money on Luka Doncic winning Finals MVP or Jaylen Brown over Jason Tatum.
I hope you're right. I just hope that whoever comes out of the West beats the Celtics because I can't have them getting number 18 before the Lakers. That's just my thing.
Hey, and the series isn't over. We didn't even go to Indiana yet. If they win game 3 or something like that, then it's not over. I mean, if they do win game 3, then it is over. But if Indiana goes ahead and wins game 3 and 4, we got a series, man.
Yeah, but I think that series is over. I just don't think Indiana matches up well with them, and Tyrese Halliburton is questionable with that sore hammy that he hurt in the regular season. So I think that series is over before it started, honestly.
Right, yeah. I agree.
But I honestly, either way, these two teams in the West, anyone's going to put up a heck of a fight against the Celtics. And I think
Yeah.
the Celtics' lack of adversity faced in these playoffs. Let's go through their run. Heat without Jimmy, Cavs without Jared Allen, and Donovan Mitchell for some of it, and now Pacers without Tyrese Halliburton.
Yeah,
The Mavericks and the Timberwolves have faced adversity every round of the playoffs.
that's right.
That will get them over the hump when it
That's
matters,
right.
in my opinion.
Yep.
And that's why I think it might be a hot take because everyone favors the Celtics. Everyone thinks they're, the best team since the 73-9 Bulls. They're not that good, in my opinion.
No, they're not. Derek White, if he's defended, he's a streaky shooter. You're letting Al Horford shoot wide open threes. You're letting Drew Holiday shoot wide open threes. You're letting Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum get to their shots very easily. If you put any defense like the Timberwolves or the Dallas Mavericks have, then they have no shot because they're actually going to get pressured, and then we don't actually know what happens in the playoffs if these players get pressured.
100%. And I think that's going to come back to bite them as it did in 2022 against the Warriors.
Right.
And I mean, let's be honest. Jason Tatum's a heck of a player. I love him, but he's shown a history of folding when it matters.
Yeah, for sure.
And I think if he gets pressured by, say Anthony Edwards or a Daniel Gafford or someone with size that can guard him, he's going to struggle.
Right.
And I think that's going to hurt the Celtics. I honestly, I don't think they're winning the championship. I get it. I think they could and they should. If they don't, it's a failure. But I just don't think they're good enough to, in my opinion.
We'll see, man.
We will see. I won't be surprised if they win it, obviously, because they're loaded from top to bottom. Let's be honest. And if they don't win it this year, that's a failure.
The Celtics, you're saying?
Yeah.
If they don't win it this year, it's over.
Like honestly, if you don't win it this year, trade somebody because somebody got to go.
Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum, their legacies are on the line this year. This is the 100%. 2012 LeBron James, in my opinion.
I mean, you have Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, Drew Holiday, Derek White, Kristaps Porzingis. That's just your starting five. Al Horford, Peyton Pritchard, Sam Hauser. The list goes on. They are loaded from top to bottom. If you don't win with this roster, what roster are you going to win with?
But why aren't we getting the criticism that LeBron James did in 2012?
Because it's not LeBron James. That's why.
Jason Tatum should get the exact same criticism. I mean, he's a great talent too.
Everyone loves Jason Tatum. Everyone. So they don't criticize him. No one, let's be honest, likes LeBron James. So any moment they get to criticize him, first headline, LeBron fails the Lakers.
But it's like everyone loves LeBron James in a way because you just have to understand what greatness is and respect it. Here's the thing, though. It's like everyone understood how great LeBron James was back then, but they were like, okay, this is his legacy. In 2012, if he does not win this championship, it's over. There is no way you can compete with Michael Jordan as the greatest player of all time if you lose this. Jason Tatum, you cannot compete with anyone with a championship if you lose this year.
Not at all. I mean, you're saying you want to be the best player in the league? Go ahead and show it this year because you have the roster to win it.
If Anthony Edwards wins it this year, he's the greatest player in the league. No doubt about it.
100%. I mean, yeah, his roster's loaded, but it's nowhere near the Celtics.
And it's nowhere near Jason Tatum. I mean, he's carried. He's carried every step of the way. Even if he doesn't score, he has carried the team.
100%. I mean, same thing with the Mavericks. Like the Mavericks, no one expected them to make it to the conference finals. If they make it to the finals and win, bro, then they honestly might be the greatest playoff run in recent history.
I mean, I did kind of. I did believe they were going to lose to you guys, but I had them going to the conference finals. The only thing is now, it's Kyrie's time, okay? This is Kyrie Irving we're talking about here. I'm not betting against Kyrie Irving in the playoffs.
That is fair. I mean, you have a good history of not betting against players. You said don't bet against Mahomes. Look what he did.
That's right.
He won a Super Bowl. So if Kyrie wins the championship this year, this is probably his best championship in his career.
I mean, the growth you have seen from him in this postseason. It is just beautiful to watch him as a person, him as a basketball player. Just
I mean, dude,
Kyrie Irving,
I
just the
literally
growth.
watched all 4 quarters, and it's like he's taking a back seat for the first 3.5 quarters. Halfway through the fourth, he's like, "Oh shoot, we're down 5. All right, time to turn up."
Right.
So it's like, bro, out of nowhere, he drops 10 straight points, timeout, Timberwolves, and then the game's over because he got himself into a rhythm where they can't stop him.
Right.
So like, just seeing him play this way and just taking a backseat for as long as possible and then finally turning it on to make sure his team gets the win, it's just beautiful to watch.
Yeah, 100%.
Like I love watching Kyrie play. Like you said, I mean, the growth from where he was during that first championship run and championship in 2018 with LeBron to now, he deserves another ring for sure.
Yeah.
And I think it's time for him to shut the haters up, win a ring without LeBron, and say, no, I didn't win because of LeBron. I won because of me.
Mm-hmm. I agree. And it's just, but also it is the Luka Doncic. He is
I mean, yeah, him
second
and
to
Luka,
but
him and Luka are a great. They're a great 1-2 punch. It's the same thing
right.
with LeBron James and Kyrie Irving.
That's
It's
right.
like Kyrie and Bron when they both scored 50 in that game. That's pretty much Luka and Kyrie on a nightly basis.
Right. And like you said, he doesn't mind taking a step back now, and he understands
Right.
what it takes to win, and he appreciates what it takes, and that's what all he cares about now, and that's why he's doing what he's doing right now.
Exactly. And I think that came with, age and maturity. Like back then in 2018, he was like, oh, I don't want to backseat to LeBron. I'm not getting the ball. Get me out of here. Now he's like, all right, I just want to win. Get me on a team that I can win with.
Well, it's just not even that. It's the fact that how can I utilize my talent
To the best of my
and also
abilities.
help other players get better? Because that's what LeBron does, right? That's what
Right.
Luka does. How can I be a leader to this team? How can I help other players be better? And also, how can I have Luka Doncic shine, become the player that he's supposed to become while also doing my own thing? And it's just he played this perfectly this year.
Yeah, I agree. And I think that's why they got to the conference finals. I mean, Luka said it himself. They didn't have Kai the past few years, and that's why
Right.
he has the confidence he has this year specifically.
Right.
And if they didn't have Kyrie this year, Luka Doncic wouldn't have put up the numbers he put up without Kyrie. Kyrie opened up that offense so much for him.
Yep.
And I think that's getting overlooked. And like people are like criticizing Kyrie for not taking a step forward, but like he's doing the little things to help his team win. He doesn't care about points. He's like, I just want to win. Just put me in a
Right.
position to win, and I'll do what I have to do.
Right.
So I think this is the Mavericks' perfect year
Mhm.
to potentially win a championship if they can get by Minnesota Timberwolves.
Yeah, for sure.
But like I said, going to be one heck of a series in the Western Conference Finals, and the Eastern Conference Finals is a little bit of a snooze fest right now. But like you said, we will see what happens Game 3 and Game 4.
Yep.
But you got a segment over there?
I do. I believe they're the Canary, Travis Scott, Jordan 1 lows come out tomorrow. Women's sizes only go all the way up until men's size 14, I do believe, tomorrow. So that's, a big shocker because usually women's sizes only go up to size 10.5. So if you guys do want the Canary, Travis Scott's coming out tomorrow. Good luck. Goes up to size 14 in men's once again at 10 a.m. Eastern time. So good luck on those drops. It's a great looking shoe. Personally, do I want it? I'm not quite sure yet. We'll see what happens tomorrow morning, between now and tomorrow morning. But good luck if you want that shoe.
Yeah, I'll definitely have to check those shoes out. In video game world, some more NCAA 25 news has been announced. So the cover for the original game, the one that's $70 and not the deluxe edition, the original version was announced. It's going to be Quinn Ewers, Travis Hunter, and Donovan Edwards.
Nice.
The trailer was released as well. It looks very cool. So if you haven't seen that, I would definitely look that up on Instagram or wherever you get your daily feed, YouTube, TikTok, whatever it may be. Looks very cool. Very excited for the game. It comes out July 19th, they announced. And You can pre-order it now if you want the deluxe version. If you are a Madden fan as well, gets you Madden with it. So if you want both of those games, just go ahead and get the deluxe version for $100. If not, then just get the original version, and that would be $70 for you. And definitely looking forward to this game. And thank you all for watching. See you all in the next one.
Hey guys, if you guys like the video, go ahead and give us, that like. We really appreciate it. If you guys want to know where Nick is, go ahead down in the, comment section. I'm sure he's down there somewhere. And then until next time, like two wise men once said, subscribe. Peace.
Peace.